Hi, I'm Krasm, and today we're looking at International Microsystems M6600 M305. This is actually a PCMCIA copying system. You use PCMCIA cards, and you put them in these slots as well as this master slot, and it should copy to these 8 slots from this one slot. I picked this up at auction for around $40 with a lot of other items, and when I was looking at it yesterday, what ended up happening is I booted it up and the CMOS battery was dead. So I removed the CMOS battery and I went to test and see if it would boot up and do what it was supposed to do. But when it booted up, it actually would not, how to put it, it would not, this doesn't light up, the master lights don't light up, and anytime I inserted a PCMCIA card, it wouldn't show as discovered in LSPCI or any of the other Linux utilities. And this is a SUSE box 9.2, so it's an older system, about 15 years old, I would say. I believe it was released in 2004. And it looks like what this is usually used for is actually copying flash drives for voting systems. So we're going to open it up and take a look at it. I actually have removed, like I said, I've taken it apart yesterday, but today we're going to take a look at it and see if perhaps what's happening that's causing this not to light up is a loose cable or some other issue. So upon opening it up, inside you'll see a I want to say Flex AT board because it's tiny. It's about 7 by 8 inches. You have this PCI card that has a FPGA on it, made by Altera. It's an Altera Cyclone. Same with these two. There's also a daughter board underneath here that also has an Altera Cyclone FPGA. And these are just RAM chips, some diodes, capacitors, various stuff to help communicating with the PCMCIA cards. The Flex AT board has a Pentium 4 processor and 512 megabytes of DDR RAM and a 40-pin IDE cable. It's been a while since I used IDE cables. Sorry, it took me a second. So what we're going to do is I'm going to boot it up and I'm going to show exactly what the issue is. So I have to hit both buttons in order to power it up. In the background you can see the monitor for the SUSE 9.2. But since I replaced the CMOS battery, which is actually over here, it maintains the date and time like it should. The CMOS battery, unfortunately, was soldered in place and spot welded, so I had to unsolder the CMOS battery. There was some hot glue in the way, so I had to remove that. After I removed the hot glue, I carefully drilled out the spot welds and re-spot welded a new 32 battery. That way it looks like it keeps the date and time. Yep, August 2nd, 9:45. So, looks like most of the stuff is being detected. We have power lights right here, but I do not have power lights for this. So it could also be a bad power supply. We'll see. So it's booted up into X window or KDE. Yep, KDE 3.3. So when I take a PCMCIA card and insert it, I should get some dialogue right here, but this is a blank, so I'm not getting anything, which is unfortunate. But these are lit up. The thing is, the IDE cable comes off this PCI card, goes to this daughter board right here, and then from that daughter board right here is actually routed through another IDE cable from the bottom PCMCIA daughter board to the top PCMCIA daughter board. So what we're going to do is shut this back down because it's not detecting this, and it should at least pop something up on that screen. So with the bottom one being the one that doesn't have any lights on it, I'm going to check and see if it's not getting power or if there's a loose connector from this PCI card or anywhere else. I'm usually pretty careful about putting cables back in place. It's also possible the entire reason this was submitted for auction, because this is not a cheap piece of equipment, was because it stopped working. And if that's the case, well, maybe I could get it working. So I removed the power cable. I'm gonna leave the monitor plugged in, but remove the monitor power cable. That way we don't have any extraneous voltages coming through here. So first step, since I want to look at this, is going to be eject my PCMCIA adapter that converts it to CF or compact flash. Then I'm going to remove. I'm also going to remove the mouse and the keyboard and the monitor because I want to put this on the side. Makes it a little bit easier. On top, there are actually a few screws I'm going to have to remove. So I'm going to remove this screw right here, and then there's 2 screws for the daughter board, and then 2 screws for the daughter board underneath. Screw right here. Underneath, there's a screw for the bottom of the front faceplate. All the black screws are the same size except for the one that's very top center. That's slightly smaller. So I'm going to remove all the daughter board screws, since we're going to have to remove the daughter board to get daughter boards to get to where I want to get to, which is the bottommost card. I was going to remove the front faceplate. Before I remove the other screws, I'm going to remove these IDE cables. These 4-pin Molex connectors. And these have power to them, because, well, I assume they have power to them because they light up. So now, I'm going to remove the other screws on the other side. Daughter boards are connected to the side, or there's a bracket. The brackets are connected to the side. So by removing these, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 17 screws, should be able to get the front panel off, or at least loose, and carefully remove these daughter boards with the bracket attached. And there's a bracket. Bracket is actually has 4 screws on the outside, 1 screw in the middle, 2 screws towards the back. So it's kind of like a triangle. And this should come out. I'm not gonna set them one on top of the other because, well, don't want to break it. So I am getting power to the hard drive. Let's see if the problem is it's not coming out easily. Let's take a look. So there's that. Bring that down so you can see what I'm working on. So I have a tester that I'm going to use. Let's see if it lights up. So I'm getting 12 and 5 volts. So that is not the problem. So I'm just going to unplug that. Alright. Well, let's plug it back in and see if we get power to the board now. So maybe it was just a poor connection. But at this point, if that doesn't fix it, the issue might actually be the daughter board, which would be unfortunate. That's super tight. But it's soldered on there pretty well. So I'm going to plug the monitor back in, the mouse, and the keyboard back in. Let's see what we do. Like I said, I'm looking for power to these lights right here. Nope. Gotta plug it back in. That helped. There we go. So this top ribbon cable comes over and controls the LCD board. This ribbon cable that goes from the bottom comes over here and controls the speaker. So the speaker ribbon cable works. This right here is actually the power switch for the motherboard. Nope. Let me plug it back in my hardware. Back into Susie. But I am not getting any power to my daughter board.
Oh, sorry.
So I might very well just have a bunkus board that's causing me all these problems. Oh well. I know the power supply works. I know the hard drive works. I know I probably won't be able to part out this card. That card could be the issue too. The nope. The PCI card comes up whenever I do a LSPCI in Linux. So I doubt it's that card. It shows up as an Altera unknown. But it could be the problem. Systems. Terminal. Sorry, I haven't used KDE in a while. So yeah. Card comes up, communication controller, Altera Corporation, unknown device, 0004, revision 01, which is, when looking online, it's a FPGA controller ran by Altera, which is now Intel. So I don't have a whole lot of information on it. Could be a driver issue. Since it says unknown, maybe it's not being detected by SUSE Linux, and I need to figure out what configuration needs to be done on this. But emailing the company, which I did yesterday, they said The unit needs to be serviced. It'll be $500. I spent $40 on the whole lot. It's not going to be worth my time to try spending $500 to try to sell this for less than $500. So I'm probably going to part it out. So the power supply, the hard drive, the motherboard, maybe the PCI card. I don't know. I'll definitely be able to sell the front panel. The front panel works. The only thing not working is either the PCI card that controls this daughter board or this daughter board itself. So this is one of those fails, but it was a cheap fail. So thanks for spending time with me and helping me walk through this. And if you have any information on these international Microsystems M6600 M305s, feel free to let me know in the comments, and I appreciate it. Hope you have a wonderful day, and thanks for taking time out of your day to take this journey with me.